start from the very launching of the software. This is After Effects and it's very bare minimum. We'll try to take it to the basics as much as we can. We'll be using After Effects 2023, the new projects. So basically this interface just shows you the home, new projects. You want to go for new because we're just starting out. So if you click on this, you have options. We have for social media landscape. You have all these options here. And the ones you want to mostly use, your design style will determine what you use. But for the most part, the common one will be to use 1980 by 1080. But you have other options of using 3 for Ultra HDs. You have other options of using 380, 420, and these different options. But we'll go with this one. So it gives you this 1920 by 1080. So the frame rate, you can determine what that is, but you can always change it to any frame rate you like. I will mostly want to leave this one for the basics, 25 frames per second. You can change the amount of seconds you want by just clicking here, or maybe if you want it longer, an hour or something, but we'll leave it at 10 seconds and then we'll do okay. This is the background color of what you're creating of the background, so you can choose any color you want, maybe white, black, but we'll stay with black for now. And we'll press OK. So once you do that, you see that we have this sort of viewfinder here where all your animations will be done. So here, like every other software, we have File. You go to New. You see that you can create a new project here, new folder, new Photoshop file, new Cinema 4D file. Most of the time you want to stay within these new projects like we did when we started this video. There's Open Project if you want to locate the project in your folders and you want to go in there to check. So as you click on it, there's an Open Recent that gives you quick access to the previous projects you've done before. And then every other thing that is common with most of the regular softwares. There's Edit here. You can undo composition if that's what you want. These are different options available. There is Add to Render Queue, Save As if you want to kind of save some still files, which we'll discuss a bit much later down the line if there's a need to, but just so you know is here. That is it. There is a new layer where you can create new text, new solid, lights, camera, null object, shape layer, adjustment layer, and then some of these other ones. I think most of the times you interact with most of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's most of the things you'll be interacting with here. These are for effects, so you have different effects that comes in built, so some of them that will be some plugins, third-party plugins you may want to introduce sometimes. Animation just is what it is. We'll see the need for this going forward. View, okay, so these are the view options and it's better explained using them. The windows is where I'm trying to go to. You have very beautiful stuff. You have a line, you have the character panel, which is here. So basically if you're looking for a particular panel and then it's not available, you can access it through the window by clicking it. So this good sign here, this mark suggests that this panel is available. If it is not, it will be grayed out, like this align, for example. If I click this align, you see that we have the align option pop here. All right, and then there's a help stuff, and we can get into that later. Here is the sort of the source layer where you have most of every element you're using for your design. Maybe footages, sound, assets, anything comes through here. And So because we've created this composition one here, you see that it's already existing in the source panel. If I want to import a file, I will double click on this and import whatever file I want, and just do OK, and it will be right here. Now this is the layer panel. Now in this source layer we have some options. So you can interpret footage. That's when you need to use basics. You can create a folder. If you create a folder, you can name it whatever you want. Let me call it assets, and then put this one into the folder. So you have your contents in the folder. If you want to include this one too, you can. So you can have it well organized and have all your assets in the folder. I'll bring this out for now. And this one is so basically these are very much you need to use basis. If I click this, it gives me the option of the space you want to work in, a bit advanced, but most of the time I like to work on the 16 bits per channel stuff. So but you can always change that to the default, which is 8, or change it back to 16 if you would like to work alongside what I'm doing. All right, so underneath here you have like the layer panel, where you can drag, for example, this asset we just brought in. You can put it here and it's available. If you put it here, anything here can be seen available. If I will just scale this down a bit. By the way, I got this asset from FreePic, so if you want to check them out, I will leave the description under this video. So basically, so this is the layer panel. This is basically the eye, so you can turn a layer off and on by clicking on this. This is the timeline, where you have all of your animations can be done, keyframing, and then you can all this. Maybe you want to change the color to a different one, maybe lavender or maybe yellow. So you can do this, basically the timeline and everything you have to do with it. If we go back to this viewfinder, you will see that it's on 25% view. If you go make it fit, it will fit the entire. You make this a bit bolder. And as a bonus, if you want to expand just this, you can put your mouse on it and press the tilde key on your laptop, and it will expand the layer of interest, just so you know it's there. That's why I want to show you that. All right. This is full resolution. You might sometimes there will be need for to drop these to a lower, maybe half quarter, so that your render can go faster. But you need to use basics. If I were to off this and click this, you'll see that it shows this transparent background. So this is the toggle transparency grid, which you can turn on and off. By default, it gives you the transparent background. So every other thing would use as we need to go. All right. That being said, I will just click this layer and delete it. Maybe toggle the switch back to black, and maybe introduce this panel. These are the tools panel. You have the selection tool. This is the home, and you have the selection tool, which is very important. Your default selection tool, your default tool to go to is always very helpful. If you've clicked every other thing, you want to go back here before you start to make changes, so it doesn't disrupt your animations. This is the hand tool. You can move the screen about. This is a zoom tool. You can zoom in into a viewfinder, or by pressing Alt you can click and return it back to normal. to any size you want, then you can fit it back to screen. And these are grayed out now, so when the time comes we'll know what they are about. This is the palm behind tool. This is the rectangle tool. This is the pen tool. This is the text tool, and everyone you have here. I want to click on this text tool and then maybe write new. So that's how easy it is to create a text. We'll go to the layer panel here. If you don't see it there, you can go to your Windows and select it if it's not already selected. So I'm using the most Surat font, and I want to change it to maybe Bebas, and maybe Bebas bold. And so you can pick the bold from here like we did now. So it works like every other text panel for most softwares. You can decide to reduce the size of it. This is your, so every other thing that works with tests, basically that's how it works. So if we go to the align panel, you can decide to use this to centralize it in the middle, so that you can have these tests fill the mid part of the screen. Once we enter our text, we have this layer already positioned here in the layer panel, and then the timeline, so you can animate it as you want. So by default, if I open this, we'll have the text and the transform. For now, we'll deal with the transform. So if I open the transform, you'll see that we have our core points, position, scale, rotation, opacity. And for these, we'll be dwelling on strictly the position, maybe scale, opacity we would see. But these are parameters you interact most times when you're animating in After Effects. And these are stopwatches, you see. So the beautiful thing about After Effects is once you put your text on any parameter to suggest the use of it, so you can, even if you forget what it's about, you by putting your mouse over it, it will tell you, give you a short overview insight about what the features is about. So let's know that one. So these are stopwatches. If I were to animate this, I need to make movement or some scaling up or something. So it's either we're doing position, scale, rotation, opacity while we are animating. So if you put a keyframe for position, for example, you go to 1 second, put the position here, then you go to 0 seconds, and then maybe move it to the side like that. You have this kind of animation. So we'll play this and see by pressing 0 on the keyboard, or just press your space bar. Let's go press your space bar. You can be able to see the animation we have here. Maybe reduce the timeline to what you want to just render. You press N on your keyboard, it will make the end. If you want it to start from here, you press B. B for beginning, then N for the ending. It will shorten those, and you can move it about anywhere you want. So if I press spacebar, you just have this animation on the screen. We'll just make it very basic. We're going to create, maybe we'll just go to layer, go to new, we'll create a solid. You can also create text from here, so but this time we'll create a solid, and everything is fine except you want to change the color to maybe a black. And when you create it, it appears here on the timeline. Bring it underneath the text, and then you have a black background here. I'll show you, because if I click this toggle switch, you don't see that transparent background again. So as bonus, I will just click on this, go to effects, go to maybe generate, and bring a gradient ramp to have some kind of gradient to the background. For the top, I will pick like maybe it's a yellow or gold or brown or something, and I will select this and pick another kind of brownish color here. So that way we've created a background. Now we can animate and see this is the very basis of After Effects. Now to just further buttress some points, I could open this and then we see the keyframes we've used. Alright, so I could select both of them and use this keyboard shortcut called F9 to make them easy. Otherwise, I could just right click on this and go to keyframe assistant, make it easy, and then it makes the animation a bit smoother. Okay, and then you can animate. So let's say we want to animate the opacity when it lands. So we can press keyframe for when it's 100% at 1 second. We can go back to the beginning and make it 0. And we have these two animations, so it's coming in increasing. If you see, this is increasing from maybe 0 to 100. So the test is traveling the opacity of 0 to 100 over 1 second. You can do scale if you want. I will just put it at 1 second. Click the scale, landing scale there, go back to the beginning, and maybe reduce the size here. So you can have it come and then grow in wilder. Maybe we should reduce this a bit. So you can have this kind of grow into animation. All that thing we can do is maybe do the rotation. So keyframe where to end at 1 second, go back to the beginning and just rotate it a bit. So you can have this sort of animation. Here's the look you're going for. Yeah, so we can select all of them, right click on them, go to a keyframe assistant and make them easy, so we have a smoother animation. Alright, thank you. This is where we stop on this basic tutorial. We might do a follow-up tutorial later, but just an introduction into the After Effects software and what it does for the most part. Thank you very much and see you next time.